Hey kids, welcome back to Oldman Plays CFL Fantasy for week 15. I remain as ever your completely impartial, 100% unbiased, and frankly rather pleased with myself today, host and presenter, Oldman Shouting at Clouds. Pleased with myself? Well, yeah, because I haven't had a good week in fantasy probably since the Riders last won a game. So this has been a stretch. This week wasn't my top ever, but I was back up over 100 for the first time in weeks. I loved it, 122.7. A couple of guys didn't perform so well for me, but Lewis sure came through and Standback came through. So that's where it's at. My pick'em, for what it's worth, I was 2 for 2 last week. That leaves me at 36 out of 56, 64%. Like I said, pleased with myself. I feel like I'm in the above average side of those two things. So this week, what are we going to do? Well, maybe I can help you with your fantasy picks again, because it seems like I'm starting to make some of mine work. The games this week, I think in every game, I'm probably looking at players on one team but not the other. So I've gone through the injury reports. I've looked at the 2 depth charts that are out there. I've seen what I can as far as information goes. BC and Toronto. BC, well, Nathan, you gotta pick them. I mean, frankly, this week I'm looking at 3 different quarterbacks, 3 different running backs, and probably 5 or 6 wide receivers. So it's gonna come down somewhat to gut feeling and to price. But like I said, going back to it was Nathan, you got to put him in consideration. He's still throwing some picks, but he's looking better every week. They're playing against Toronto, who's had to travel right across the country, and the game starts at 10 o'clock Toronto time. So not exactly a formula for success on the Argos part. So Nathan, I figured team him up with Hatcher. Maybe Standback. I'm a little leery there because Toronto is generally good against the run. But Standback, if they can get him going, and they are, and Toronto is down, Brinkman on the D-line, and I think a couple other injuries, while McManus is out too, so maybe Standback works. Toronto, I'm not looking at any of them, just because I don't know what to expect. If you are thinking of going to Toronto, keep in mind that Dejon Brissett is out again this week, so don't be picking him. Davaris Daniels is back, and he's usually one of their higher point getters, so you might want to go that way. Next game, Hamilton. Well, I've got nobody from Hamilton again. Keep in mind, Jamal Peters is also questionable too, so that may make you want to pick a few more of the Ottawa wide receivers, because without him, that defense is really going to struggle. And then the other thing to keep in mind is that Taylor Powell is back. I haven't seen anything on if he's starting or not. Haven't even heard if he's taken starting team reps. It seems to be an information blackout. So making your pick after the depth charts come out. If you want Hamilton quarterback, it may end up being Taylor. Ottawa is another one where I'm chock full of them, because Drew, against that Hamilton defense, especially if Jamal Peters is out, he's going to find a lot. And receivers, Acklin is back. I would probably stay away from him a bit just because it's the first game back. But you've also got Hardy or Rhymes to choose from. And the running back, Kaylin Labourne from last week. Why? Well, because Chris Jones is basically doing the Hamilton defense. His defenses aren't strong against the run, and Ottawa's O-line has been good. Although Pelios, the right tackle, is out, so it'll probably be Boyd in there for this week. Actually, Hamilton, I just realized, I may go with Greg Bell, because he is a hell of a running back. It's going to be hard to find a good running back, or at least 2 good running backs this week. So, yeah, Hamilton, come to think of it out, Bell is probably on my list. That takes us, though, we've done Ottawa already, so we go to the second game on Saturday, Montreal at Calgary. Well, Calgary, again, I don't really have anybody at all. If you are wanting to pick someone on that list, Bagleton is good, gets big numbers. Hyman has had a game or 2. He's listed as questionable, so keep that in mind. And remember that they're going back to Mayer at the start, and they've had some some issues with the O-line and injuries. So will he have time to even do what he can do? It's going to be a lot of short passing, I'm sure, and trying to run. So, but Montreal, there's one where, Cody definitely is worth looking at. Fletcher, I say every week, he doesn't run a lot, but he catches so much out of the backfield, he's worth the points. You've still got Rambo there, and then this week Sneed's back, Julian Grant is back, and even Bahar, who had a little bit of a nick, is listed as available on it. So lots of receivers there, lots of running backs, lots of quarterbacks. Again, the D will probably come down to what can I afford? Let's head on over to the computer and make some magic work. All right, here we are, and let's start with quarterback, because like I said, there were lots that might look available or might look worthwhile this week. Unfortunately, they don't show up here very quickly at the start of the things. Fajardo is $12K. We considered him. Nathan Rourke is $9. Drew Brown is $12. Nathan Rourke is the safe bet. On the other hand, I believe I'm going to go with Drew Brown, yes. And I will team him up with, let me find one or maybe even two Hamilton receivers here that make some sense. Oh, not Hamilton, what am I saying? Ottawa receivers. Let me check a couple of Ottawa receivers that make some sense. Rhymes at $9K, that works. And Hardy's been good most of the year, so let's go that way. That means now I've got to go to my running back selections. And LeBron, I believe it's pronounced, is there cheap, but let's look at the overall league and see who all's out there. Greg Bell, he's still at 6. He's been playing well for Hamilton. He's the one that I might take. Yeah, let's take him at Hamilton. And then as we go down, Stanback or Fletcher? Stanback or Fletcher? Leak is off again. Really, those are probably the only two that I trust. I'm going to put Stanback in there. Okay. And then that means I need to find a flex player. And who am I looking at there? What do I have left for money? 19.5. So Tim White, but I don't see him playing as well against that Ottawa defense as he did against Toronto. So if I put Fletcher in here at 12, yeah, as my flex, I kind of like that. And what does that leave me with? 7.5 to pick a defense. And for the defenses, let's see. Montreal Alouettes, I think may do a little better than the Red Blacks, but I've priced myself out of the market with them. So who else would I change to put them in? I don't think anyone, so I'm going to go with the Red Blacks defense there. That leaves me $900. I'm going to make Drew Brown the captain, and I'm going to walk that in. So there we have it. There's my team for those of you listening on the podcast and can't see the screen. I'm going with the Ottawa Red Blacks defense. Drew Brown at quarterback against Hamilton. Greg Bell from Hamilton versus Ottawa as one of my running backs. Stanback out of BC against Toronto is the other running back. Rhymes from Ottawa against Hamilton and Hardy from Ottawa against Hamilton are my two wide receivers, and Fletcher, Montreal against Calgary, is my flex. So there we go. That's what we've got for this week. This is what we're going with. If you want to take any of mine, I always say, do so at your peril. Other than that, if you've liked this, if you found it helpful, please, it's the usual big things from the video. Subscribe to the channel. If you know anyone else who might enjoy it, share it out there, leave me a comment, and hit that like button. It gives me a real kind of oomph sometimes when I'm a bit of a down day and I look at, oh, there are actually people liking this stuff. So that makes me feel good. That's just about it. You can check out my other two shows, Oldman Plays CFL Pick'em in Under a Minute and the CFL Outsider. Otherwise, I hope you have a great week in fantasy. I hope we're all up over 100 points this week, because that'll mean a real fire show in the CFL. Like I said, hope you have a great week, and until next week, get the hell off my lawn.